reach out to him. I'm a terrible sponsee.
All right, we're good to go. Karina,
Okay.
how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you
First
for
of
having
all, you're welcome. So brown belt,
me.
owner of Guardian, podcaster,
Yes.
new mom.
Yes.
There's a lot of things we got to cover here. Competitor.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of things we got to cover here. So let's just start with the basics. Like, how did you start jiu-jitsu? How did you start grappling? Oh, and veteran too, right?
Almost a veteran.
Almost a veteran.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So how did you get started with the world of jiu-jitsu?
Okay, so I started jiu-jitsu 2017. I just hit my 7-year jiu-jitsu versary.
Do you remember the day? The exact day?
Yes.
Everybody. Okay. I know. I don't remember the day. What's the day?
Yes, March 17th, 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
I was super nervous to go through that door. I literally contemplating it for 30 minutes in the car, but what got me in there is because I really had to use the bathroom. I was like, I need to go in now. Can't keep contemplating. But I started because I had a boyfriend at the time that did jiu-jitsu. We had nothing in common. Yeah, it was one of those. We had nothing in common, and he was I think it was a purple belt at the time, very active purple belt.
Okay.
And I was going to his competitions all the time. So, and it really caught my eye. And I was like, okay, fine. I need something in common with you. So let me do jiu-jitsu. And I really, really liked it. I started at Carlson Gracie, Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started there. 2020, I tore my ACL. And then right after COVID. And my coach now, he used to train at Carlson Gracie as
on
well.
Fridays, right? He's one of the first black belts.
Yeah,
from
Coach Ceviche. Yeah, so he's one of Buyu's black belts. He ended up leaving and teaching full-time at Freedom Fighters MMA. And I really needed someone that was gonna take care of me at that time.
Right.
And me and him were super tight. So I left with him to go train at Freedom Fighters in 2020.
Okay, that's right after, you said it right after COVID, right?
Right after COVID. Yeah, it was around October because I tore my ACL in October. And I ended up going with him right after that.
I mean, you got to go with whoever you're comfortable with, really.
Yeah. And he was my main coach at that time anyway. I had Buyu, and I learned a lot from Buyu. He was incredible.
Yeah, he's a good teacher.
He's a great teacher. But I was a devout Friday night class person.
Dude, I never went to one, but
Yeah.
I heard it because I was originally from Carlson Gracie too. Not
Mhm.
originally, but I had my purple to brown was at Carlson Gracie.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my brown was I'm still a brown belt, but a lot of my brown time was at Carlson. So that I never got to go to a ceviche class, but everybody that did it has amazing stories about it and how tough it was.
There was something like it, honestly. I was so surprised that I stayed going because I remember after my first, I was like, I'm never coming back. Because if you know Ceviche, he's a very tough person. He's very tough. He has no filter. He'll tell you exactly how he feels about you. It doesn't matter what age you are, because back then it was actually kids and adults. It didn't matter. Anybody could get it, you know? Yeah, it didn't matter who was there. He was going to tell you how he felt in any way that he felt. He didn't keep it PG. So I was really scared after that. I was like, I'm never coming back. This guy terrifies me. But I kept on coming back for some reason. I really like the style. I would say that I'm a more aggressive grappler. I'm not really nice.
Yeah.
At all. So it just fit my
Your
niche.
style.
Yeah, my style. So so I moved to Freedom Fighters, and then in 2021 in December, an opportunity came up at Gladiator Wrestling Club. My husband trains with the owner of Gladiator Wrestling Club, and he's known him his whole life. So
that's in Homestead, right?
Yeah, in Homestead. The owner of that is Coach Duck.
Okay.
He's also the assistant coach of South Dade Wrestling.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you know anything about wrestling in South Florida or in Florida in general, statistically, South Dade is the best. They're on their 22nd or 23rd or somewhere from 22 to 28.
There's a gap there, but
it's
somewhere there.
Yeah. They're on their 28th state title.
Jesus.
Yeah. And their 12th consecutive.
Wow.
So these people are like, they're actually statistically the best.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So Coach Duck asked us if we wanted to start teaching jiu-jitsu there.
Oh, that's a great opportunity.
Yeah. In 2021. And I was only a purple belt. And me and my husband has wrestled his whole life. Coach Darren.
Okay.
He's a purple belt as well. But at this time, he was a blue belt and I was a purple belt.
Yeah, but a blue belt wrestling your whole life.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah.
There's a difference there.
Yeah, there is a difference. But nonetheless, he was a blue belt.
Okay.
And he, like I said, Coach Duck asked, "Oh, do you guys want to teach jiu-jitsu?" And it was super random. Sorry.
Very good.
So me and my husband had always talked about opening a school because I thought that, you're a wrestler. I'm a jiu-jitsu person. We should share this with the world.
This is genius.
Yeah. But I never thought it was going to happen as a purple belt.
Right.
I was always like very insecure of like, no one is going to want to learn from a purple belt woman or even a black belt woman. You know, I've always had that insecurity.
Right.
For some reason. So, but I knew that an opportunity like this wasn't going to come again.
You had to take it.
Yeah. So I was like, I had to put my big girl pants on and I was like, okay, fine, we can do it.
That's a tough decision. And I mean, that insecurity,
tough.
They're probably ignorant people, but there's people out there that think that way. Oh, I'm not going to train with a woman or whatever. But what they don't understand is probably more technical.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to deal with bigger guys and the aggressiveness of guys. And then your technical level is probably a lot higher than another, like a dude. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. I had a lot of thinking to do. And even to this day, I still kind of feel that way a little bit. I do think it's something that I have to work on constantly.
Right.
So just like kind of like talking myself up.
Right.
But at that time I was like, yeah, we're not going to get an opportunity like this again.
You have to take that for sure.
It's very little risk.
Right.
Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right. You're just teaching the program out of this school. So there's really no cost associated with it so much.
Right. Yeah. We had like a small rent, but it wasn't anything that was compared to anywhere else. And I had a full-time job at that time because I'm in the Air Force and I was working full-time with the Air Force. So I was making decent money and so I could afford what we were paying for the rent at that time. So I literally wasn't making I wasn't going to risk anything at this time. So my idea was, okay, we'll start here. If it goes well, in a few years, we'll open up our own place once we have our clientele.
Which you did, right? Recently.
Yeah, which is what happened. Now, it was faster than I wanted it to in that sense again. So everything has happened like faster than I wanted it to happen.
That's good. I mean, that means you're progressing, right?
Yeah, it made for hard decision making, so let's get back. So 2021 they asked us if we wanted to open it in December. Then we opened we started teaching at Gladiator Wrestling Club officially March 1st of 2022.
Okay.
And then come where we're at now, March 2024.
Yeah, 2024.
Yeah.
That's okay. It got me too. I was like, oh, fuck, don't ask me. Why are you asking me?
Yeah.
Putting pressure on me on dates? I'm not, no.
Yeah, come March 2024, there, everything's going up here in Miami. And it's like a crazy amount. It's even down in Homestead, where everything's supposed to be cheaper.
Right.
And we're like in the hood. So we really are. We're in Florida City.
But even there, it's going up too.
And even there, it's going up. And, so a situation like that arose where the rent was just getting exponentially high. And, Coach Duck is still there, but he was facing possible, having to leave, and lose and having to relocate. And I didn't want to lose my people. So, and we weren't able to teach a full-time program there either, because we had to work around the wrestling schedule. So it was hard to grow how other people grow.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because I teach out of a karate academy and you have to work around their schedule.
Yeah.
And they take the best times.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, you know. And I was only teaching like 3 times a week.
Right.
So it's hard because other academies, they have every day, you know, they have 6 times a week. So I had to make the decision. Was it either put my hands in the faith of this landlord that's not going to push us out, or am I just going to have to bite the bullet and move the way like faster than I expected?
Right.
And I made the tough decision to move. It was a very tough decision.
I can imagine. Of course it is. You're locking into a rent. It's a tough decision.
Yeah, locking into a rent. But you know, I as of right now, I'm happy that I made the decision, you know.
That's great.
And this was all while I was having a baby at the same exact time.
Bro.
You know? So I literally having the baby, I was teaching all throughout my pregnancy.
Yeah, your husband was telling me that before the podcast, that you were teaching like throughout your pregnancy.
Yeah, I took the bulk of the classes. My husband was in the police academy at that time.
Right.
So I took the bulk of teaching and having my full-time job with the military.
Wow,
so,
bro.
So if you could, I'm gonna put.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna paint a picture for you.
Yes, please do.
So I know I only taught like 3 times a week, but 3 times a week, I had a morning class that started at 5:30 in the morning. So, and that class went on to 6:45. Yeah, around 6:45.
Okay.
And then I would drive to my full-time job, which started at 7:30. Okay. And then that would happen until I would be there till 4. And then the days that I taught, I would go back to the gym to start teaching at 5:30.
Dude, and pregnant.
Yeah, and not stop until like around 9:30.
Oh my God, dude.
My life was impossible like for 2 years.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just thinking like you saying it without being pregnant is like, damn, that sounds crazy. And I can't even imagine how it was being pregnant at the same time. Did you get like sick? Like, did you get like morning sickness and stuff with it too?
No, not too bad.
Oh,
thankfully.
That's good.
Thankfully. I did get some injuries from lifting while pregnant.
Okay.
You know, like from doing
like it wasn't hard enough.
Yeah. So I did get some injuries, but thankfully the pregnancy was fairly healthy.
Yeah.
That it didn't hinder
me
too much.
Great.
Yeah, he's healthy.
He's healthy.
So yeah, so that's the long-winded answer of like where I'm at with jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
I got my purple belt in this past December. Oh, not my purple belt.
Your brown belt.
My brown belt this past December. I was a purple belt for 4 years. And then but I made purple in literally less than 3.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great progress from blue to purple in less than 3.
Yeah.
That's great progress. So you were killing people.
I was trying. Yeah.
You were doing your best.
I was doing my best
to take out some necks, you know?
That's all I could do.
You got your purple. It worked.
Yeah. I think with the school, since we started so early, you know, not many blue and purple belts open schools.
No, that's true.
Yes.
Usually they'll teach like a program. Like they'll teach, which is what you started doing, but open up a school at blue and purple. That's some balls, bro. It's brave.
Yeah, I mean, we officially opened. When I officially opened the location, I was a brown belt.
Okay,
you know, my husband's a purple belt, but even so, like, no one has like a full program usually, like at that time.
Right,
you know?
That makes sense.
But I do think that it put a lot of pressure on me to become a competitor. Like, even though I was already a competitor.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. I
competed a lot because I decided to be a teacher as well. Because I was like, I'm already a woman. So I'm a ding, you know, like.
Ding.
Yeah, like red flag, you know, like. But I'm also like, I have to prove that I'm the shit. Like, you know, like, so at least that's what my train of thought was.
That's a great train of thought. I think that's probably the best way to demonstrate
Right. That what you're teaching is legit.
Right.
You know?
You have to put yourself out there if you're going to like open up a school, I think.
Yeah.
You have to be competing because at least if you want to get good students, they have to know that you're able to apply what you're teaching them.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to trust somebody that's not, well, I mean, not hard to trust because there's people out there. And if you've been in the game long enough, maybe some people don't like to compete, but especially if you're open up in a school, I think it's important to be competing.
Yeah.
And also you get your name out there too.
I agree to a certain extent as far as like, for me, it felt like a necessity because people didn't know me like that, you know, like, but like, let's say, I don't know, you had Mello on the podcast last time, right? Mello, like, he hasn't competed as much often. You know, he wants to get back into it, but like, it's been a little bit of time, but he had a good following because people knew that he knew his shit. Like, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, like he helped a lot of people like progress already.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so people were going to follow him and he had the black belt to like back him up,
That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
So for me, I felt like I had to do it. Like there was like no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah.
And you did pretty good. I mean, I saw 2 of your matches today, and the one in White Lion was pretty impressive. Like you kept pressure on top. You went in for a heel hook that I swore that you had it.
Oh, but she was really flexible.
Was it the foot? So you had it locked in.
Yeah, I did.
You had it locked in because I was like, dude, how is she not tapping to that? And then you went to the back from there, I think, right?
I don't remember. No, I don't think I went to the back from there. I think I disengaged and I came back up on top.
That's right.
And then I made my way to the back. Kinda. She would never let me get her back. Me and Edlin are actually like really good friends.
Yeah,
she was my doula for my pregnancy.
Oh, really? So you guys are really close.
Yeah, we're really close.
Oh, that's cool.
And to this day, it's very hard to get her back. Yeah, because we train all the time.
How was that? Like, how was it like competing with somebody that's your friend too? And you got, I mean, I can imagine you guys train a lot together. Did you like switch it up on her a little bit? Like try to sneak attack her or something else?
A sneak attack. No. What I do think is a little awkward is like, because I'm one of those people, like if I know I'm competing against you, I don't want to talk to you. Like,
right. You stop talking to your best friend.
Yeah. So I've competed against her twice. The second time we were already really close. This was after White Lion. I competed against her again in combat sports coverage for the title belt or whatever for 140. I think it was 140, 145. I don't remember. So the second time, even though we were really close, I literally said, like, she started waving at me and was like, hey, like, hey. And then I walked away. I did not go up to her and hug her. Like,
but did she know that, or was it a surprise to her that you were looking at like hard rocking her and she's like, oh, okay, what's going on?
I mean, I don't know, but there was no weirdness. Like, like, and she obviously knows that I love her. Like, you know. We're still friends.
Why is she mad at me? I just said hi. I don't know what's going on here.
So, yeah, I had like a little good run. I plan on doing it again.
Doing the White Lion?
No, competing the way that I was again. But it's going to take some time.
No, I get that for sure. Like, you just had the baby in January. And the only reason I kind of know, and I'm not going to say I just know what my wife has told me, like getting back into jiu-jitsu after a C-section is very difficult. Like it's not easy because your muscles aren't in the place. And she's like, I can't even move the way my body used to move.
No, not at all. I actually, because I trained my whole pregnancy.
Right.
Like literally the day that I gave birth.
You're good.
The day that I gave birth, I was at Mortalis that day training. Yeah.
Tell me that story. Wait, but that was after Mortalis? Did you have to go to
hospital? It happened after Mortalis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I was literally training that day, and and I'm not talking about like just drilling. No, I rolled like.
And your doctor didn't say anything?
No, she knew. She was completely aware. I wouldn't have done it if she wasn't aware.
Oh, like, okay.
You know, she was aware.
Yeah. Did you tell her like I'm rolling, I'm training, like I'm sparring? You told her you were sparring, or you're like I'm kind of drilling. You said I'm still training.
I just told her I did jiu-jitsu. I didn't go to specifics.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, so I did roll my whole pregnancy, but rolling after C-section is, for me personally, it is harder. than doing it with a full grown baby.
Really? That's interesting. What makes it, like, I don't know, obviously, but what makes it harder? Is it just like recovering from the surgery?
Yeah, mainly like what your wife said is that everything is not in the same place. Like obviously it's not in the same place when you have a baby in there, but sometimes I feel like my abdomen's stretching. Like, you know, sometimes like I like to think I have a very strong core.
Yeah.
And lifting your hips is hard.
Yeah, like going into a straight ashi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or even for me, especially keeping a closed guard is very hard. That's a good
point.
Yeah, because like the muscles that you have to use in your legs and your like pelvis, like they're like non-existent.
Right.
You know, so that's a hard one. And I will open my closed guard right away because when people go to push down on my hips, it's right where the scar is, so I will let go and move on from there. I've definitely become like more like, before I got pregnant and everything, I would not give up position for nobody. Unless like I'm like, no.
For about 3 years, I mean,
no, I'm not giving it up. Like, you know, obviously someone better than me, they got their way, you know. But I would try my hardest. You're not getting it. Like, you know, I would try, you know. But now I would say that I just give it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to until you're back into like 100%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's also good, like in the sense that if your style was one way, and this is just me like thinking about that situation, like if you were training one way and had a style that was a certain way, and now you have to deal with these difficulties, well, there's a development that will go with that as well.
Right. Yeah, you know? Yeah. It's definitely forced me to explore different things.
That's great. That's interesting.
And it's humbled me a lot. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was egotistical before.
Yeah, no, but I'm interested in why you say it humbled you.
Because like I said before, I would just fight to the end.
Okay.
Now I'm like
every roll.
Yeah, like, every roll. Fuck it. Every roll, balls to the wall, 100%. But now I take my time for things more often. I'll let someone like work me a little bit before I'm like, ha, I got you.
Fuck you. I got you, motherfucker.
Yeah. I wait for people to make mistakes a lot more often now. Like,
that's smart.
Yeah. And because it always happens for the most part, unless they're like way better than me.
You set up like traps now. Like you're thinking about like setting up like traps. Like you'll kind of let them pass a certain way so you can get like a choke or get an arm.
Yeah.
That's great though.
Yeah, it's definitely like I said, it's definitely forced me to be more open to other styles or moves or submissions or escapes. Like I'm definitely way more open as a practitioner now.
That's great.
I think it's made me more well-rounded.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if you're developing a certain way, that's amazing. My question is like, how are you think that it makes you more well-rounded, but obviously the overall change to your style is going to be different. So you're not going to be the same grappler as when you were pregnant as to what you are now.
Right.
Yeah. So you're going to be like a different grappler. So do you think that your mentality when it comes to competition, when you decide to compete, you think you're going to change the way that you approach competition?
So that's actually a funny question because I've found that so like everyone tells me like after you have a kid that like mama bear comes out and you're like fearless and like, you know, that fierceness in you. I thought that would come out to me like wanting to go right back into everything like with more determination.
Okay.
But I don't think I've tapped into that yet.
Well, maybe when you compete.
Yeah, so maybe when I compete, you know, maybe I just need to force myself to do it.
Yeah.
For it to come out. But right now I think my brain is just on mom mode.
Right. Which makes sense.
That I'm not feeling that yet. But I do think that when I compete, it's possible that it will come out.
Yeah. Your kid's there. He's watching.
Yes.
Mommy's got to win.
Actually, when I think about that, it brings tears to my eyes. Like, I'm gonna look at him and be like,
You just gotta cry afterwards. Make sure you cry afterwards.
Yeah.
Or during. Maybe that will help you win.
Maybe.
You just start crying on the person, they'll tap out away. You gotta win.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm telling you, like, because I was on a roll for a little bit. Like, I don't usually talk myself up. I really don't. But I look back at that time of my life, like when I was competing like nonstop. Like, I was competing once to twice a month.
Okay. That's a lot.
I went to Chicago. I went to New York. I went to all these different places. I went to Pennsylvania to go compete. And I look at that and I was like, man, and especially when I was watching trials, because I was doing all this competing. It wasn't just to compete.
Okay.
It was to prepare for worlds and trials.
Oh, sweet.
So all of my 2023 was supposed to be dedicated to just preparation for ADCC trials.
Okay.
And worlds at the end of the year. But I ended up getting pregnant. So, things happen, life happens. But I look at that time of my life and I in that moment also, I felt like, shit, these people are not that much better than me. I'm going to get there. Like, so
That's a good mindset to have.
I felt it. Like, I really felt it. I really did.
That means you know what the direction you're going with all the. If you're competing consistently, you're gonna have a good gauge of where you're at. I mean, I think it's an honest answer to yourself. You're saying, I can get there.
Yeah.
You're competing. If you weren't competing, you're saying that it's another. So the way the best. But like right now, if you're saying, listen, I'm competing with these people. I'm on the mats with them. I feel their strength. I feel their style. I can get there. It's probably true.
Yeah, and the way I was training was.
How was that like?
Great.
During that time?
So I would train every day, like every single day. Rarely would I take a Sunday off, I'm not saying that that's the way to do it, but
yeah, I kind of have to.
But I felt well enough that I could do it.
Yeah.
If it's hindering your progress and you feel like it's not helping you, then.
Do you think that happens a lot? Like when you train, if you like for you, or,
overtraining?
Yeah, like you think that if you train like. Does that happen to you or no? Not for you?
I think it's happened to me maybe like once or twice where I was just like, yeah, I need a break.
Yeah.
But I think if you do it right, you could do it.
Yeah.
If you do it right,
So what's right look like?
I think if you have focused training, like for example, like I said, when I would tell you like every role for me was like, I'm not giving up position, right? I would have a day here and there where I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to let him take my back,
Right.
If you have like a goal in training and you work towards that goal most of the time.
Right.
And you know when to slow it down and not every day has to be porrada. I think if you have that understanding that you can do it.
Yeah.
And if you're feeding your body the proper things, you're hydrating, which I'm terrible at.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at it.
Hydrating is like
it's so hard.
It is. It's like I forget. And water doesn't taste like anything.
I love water.
Then why is it hard?
But I can't do it. Now that I have the baby is when I've learned how to do it better, but I still have to remind myself.
Yeah.
I could be super thirsty and like be like, nah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hydrate because I just don't. Water doesn't like attract me to drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have a good selling point.
Well, I tried putting a timer on my phone.
That's smart.
Like to remind me.
Yeah.
But even that shit don't work.
You snooze it. You're like, I'm out. Fuck you. I drink water. You don't like it telling you to do shit.
Yeah. Like, don't tell me what to do. I'm not thirsty.
I'll tell you when I'm thirsty. That's interesting. And then so you had that moment. And do you have those goals and aspirations now to get back to that and start going to trials?
Yes.
That's great.
I do think it's gonna take a lot longer though now. But I'll tell you when exactly I felt like I have to do this or else I'm going to regret it. Like, because I that's the feeling that I have is that if I don't do it at some point of my life, try to make it
right
that high up, that I will have regrets. And that's not something that I want to live with.
That's a good word with like a good wherewithal to know. That's how your mind's gonna be like.
Yeah. I felt that when I won't say the competitor's name. But
Say it. No,
but I went against a competitor.
Okay.
And this is a very good black belt, you know, very good. She's very well known. And she's like at the highest level. And I went against her. I've gone against her twice. The first time murdered me very quickly. The second time I lasted pretty well. Like, I mean, I'm a nobody purple belt. Like,
Right.
you know, at this time, I was nobody purple belt. You know, you should have murdered me very quickly twice.
Right.
You know,
Right.
unless, maybe she wasn't trying the second. I don't know.
I mean,
But
it's competition. I'm sure they're trying to get you out there as soon as possible.
yeah. But the second time, it took her 5 minutes to murder me. So
You're prolonging it. That's great.
yeah,
That's the way to start
yeah. And it didn't feel like she was so far ahead of me. It really didn't.
I
I've
think I
felt
saw the
that
fight.
way
Yeah.
before because I've trained with people that made me feel like I don't know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in training, if you're in a good room, that's gonna happen a lot.
Yeah. Like I've trained with Tubby.
I don't know what Tubby is.
She's one of the best by
Okay.
far. Like I've trained with her. She makes me feel like I don't know jiu-jitsu. And I went against Trinity Pun.
Oh, okay.
She didn't make me feel like I didn't know jiu-jitsu, but it felt like she was doing something that I wasn't,
Okay.
you know? Like
Yeah.
it felt like she was like thinking 10 steps ahead
Right.
and I was only thinking 3 steps ahead.
Yeah, you get that because when you roll with somebody that's that good, that's that way ahead of you, it's like everything you do is a mistake, even
Yeah.
though you're doing it right. You know what I mean?
And they expected that mistake.
Right. It's like everything that you do is like there's no hesitation in their face. There's no like. It's like they knew that was gonna happen. So I get
Mhm.
that. And then you're like, I did everything right. I still got fucked up. What the hell is this shit? I get that.
What is my life?
Yeah.
What am I doing for the past 7 years?
The
Like,
drive home sucks after that. You're like, dude, I did everything right. I don't know what. Damn it, it's the worst.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But that's good that you have those goals and you know that if you don't do it, you're gonna regret it.
yeah,
That's
it's definitely
good.
going to be one of those.
That's great.
And I have a coach that really believes in me. Like,
That's ceviche, right?
yeah, Ceviche, he talks me up, like, you know, and he doesn't do that with everybody,
Okay,
you know, like, but he really believes in me and I feel it, you know,
that's great.
and he lets me know, like, hey, we got to get you doing, and I will listen. And I'm a very stubborn person.
Yeah, you don't listen to your phone when it tells you gotta drink water.
Yeah, no, I don't listen to my body when it tells me that I need to drink water.
You're stubborn with yourself.
Yeah.
I'll tell myself, even though I'm telling myself right now.
But if Ceviche tells me to drink water, I'll drink that motherfucking
You're
water.
drinking that water.
No, but I'll listen to him. Like if he tells me like, okay, you need to lift this way, you need to run this way, you need to train this way, you need to eat this way, I will listen to him because I trust in him.
Right.
Right. You know, we're very different, but I know that he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
So,
Do you try to pass that on to your students as well? That type of relationship, like coach-student relationship that you have with ceviche?
I try,
Yeah, it's
but
gotta
I'm
be
very
hard, right?
different from Ceviche.
Okay.
You know, like I can't try to emulate him because it's never gonna happen. Like,
Right.
Like, because Ceviche is a very like. It took me a lot to love him, you know, because he scared me so much. Like he just terrified me. You know, I'm not intimidating like that.
Yeah.
You know, like
But I mean, like in the terms of if we're talking about like I'm talking about a relationship that you kind of guide your students, your competitors, and your students that way that he would guide you.
yeah. So I do try, but I'm only one person,
Yeah.
and I can't make adults do what I want them to do.
Right.
You know, so that's like the biggest thing. Now with my kids, I find that it's a lot easier. Like I have a student, her name is Brooke.
Okay.
If I tell her to run, she'll run. If I tell her duck, she'll duck. Like, you know, like she trusts me.
Right.
You know, and I think it's been easier with the kids because you're an adult and they
Right.
trust in what you have to say.
Right.
And if their parents trust you, then
That's the other thing.
yeah. And her parents trust me.
Right.
You know, because
It's a big responsibility.
yeah, I mean, she has a lot of other coaches. She also wrestles.
Okay.
And she goes to Freedom Fighters every once in a while for gi training. So she has a lot of people putting in time with her, but I like to think that me and her are closer than everybody else.
Yeah.
That's sorry.
You're good.
That's just me. So yeah.
It's gotta be, and that was like one of my questions I was gonna ask you, since you have a kids program and you have adults program. What do you find to be more challenging to teach? The adults or the kids? Because I know I have a very small program. I'm talking about 2 or 3 kids, but that's difficult. Like 2 or 3, 4 or 5-year-olds, it's tough. So I can't imagine a larger class. So what do you find more challenging?
I think they both come with their challenges.
Okay.
So, for example, I start at 4 years old.
Okay.
And what I found, maybe you can't do this. I don't know if this is an option for you, but sometimes I cap my class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
what do you mean
it's
by
not a
cap
big class. Yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, I actually capped it at 6 because I have no, like, if Darren's not there to help me, I can't control more than 6 4-year-olds.
So that makes so much sense.
Yeah. So if you have that opportunity, if you can't handle more than that, just cap it. And then as you get better at teaching, maybe you can handle one more.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, I think it's the grabbing the attention of the children.
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's definitely
like
the
so
hard part. But and that is the challenge. Yes, that's the challenge with kids that age when they're that young. Like, so what I did is that I do an audition, I guess you can call it, or a tryout.
I like this idea.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't just allow any 4-year-old to join the class. Their parents has to schedule a tryout with me, and I have to accept them. I've only turned 2 people away.
That's because they're probably like really inactive, right?
One of them just didn't want to do it. The parents wanted them to do it. And sometimes that's okay to make a kid do what you want them to do.
Right.
But when they make it impossible, like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, because then you have to direct all your attention to that person while you have 5 other, right? You said you kept it at 6. You have 5 other that want to learn. And that disruption makes a disruption for all the other children.
Right.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So I do that, so that helps. But still, there's 4-year-olds. They still have days where they don't want to do things.
They're running around.
Yeah. As time has progressed, I've become more stern, and I have a set of rules, and they're aware of those rules.
Okay.
I make them repeat them before class every day.
That's good. I'm learning here. I'm like taking mental notes.
Yeah.
I have a kid that's like running around, and I'm like, I'm trying to be nice, and I mean, I just started. I'm learning how to do it. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Actually, so I only have 3 rules, really. Because if I have any more than that, they're not going to learn them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So my rules are, when coach is talking, you're not talking.
Right.
No touching each other unless you're doing jiu-jitsu.
That's a good one.
And when I say go, you go. When I say stop, you stop.
That's a good one.
So those are my 3 rules.
I think those are the best ones. Like I don't think you need to add anything to that.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I know it sounds like very simple, but them repeating that over and over again has helped a lot. Another thing that I find challenging with them is that they're so young that a lot of them don't know how to process emotions. That's
a good point.
So I have kids that they have their days, and I feel this for them because I've had days where they're getting beat up and they don't know how to like process that emotion.
Some adults don't know how to process that.
Yes. So the only thing that they know how to do is scream and yell and cry.
Right.
And I have the trust of the parents that they will not stop unless they tap.
Okay.
They could be screaming, yelling, and crying while they're going. And if I see that they're not hurt,
right,
I'm going to make them keep on going until they tap.
Yeah, like if they're crying in sense, like they're not in an arm bar, or they're getting like...
Right. It's just literally like they're probably being mounted and can't get out of mount, or they're getting their bat taken and they can't get their
bat. That
bat.
happened to me on Friday.
Yeah. So I tell them if they're in that situation and they're screaming and they're yelling and there's nothing happening to them, I tell them, if you want to quit, tap.
Yeah.
If they're still not doing it, I'm not stopping it.
Right.
And their parents let me do that.
That's,
You know?
I think it's important that you gain that trust with those parents, like that they have that trust in you and they allow you to do that, because it's important for the kid too. They got to know there's a certain set of structure that they need to go by in order to get out what they want to get out of it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really up to the kid. Like, if they don't want to tap, okay, all right, not my fault. Like, if they're not in danger, obviously.
Right.
Like, so
you're not letting people pull like leg locks, even though it's a kick. No, I'm just joking. But you put like an arm bar, they're like, oh, you got to tap. You know, let an arm bar pop. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that's another challenge with my kids. I haven't had an issue with that with an adult. But I had an issue with that as an adult when I had a couple incidences where for some reason my brain has a hard time. Like, I had a good stint of like a good chunk of time, like maybe like 3 years, that every once in a while, for some reason, my brain would go in panic mode in certain positions.
Oh, okay.
And I was the person to cry.
Okay.
You know, and
what do you know what positions was like if you were like they had you in mount, or they were mounted, or they had like the back?
Side control was a hard one for me.
Tough. See, a good 100 kilos.
Yeah, it was a hard one for me. And my coach was aware of this too. You know, there's reasons why, but he was very aware of it, and he would help me go through those episodes and like work through it. And I'd make my way back to the mat, you know? So I know how those little kids feel, you know? It's hard to be able to understand and voice your emotion at that age.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's at that age, especially as adults as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that you being able to understand that probably allows you to teach a lot, to get a message across a lot easier, because you're not just barking orders.
Right.
You're kind of like understanding and knowing where they're coming from, and then giving instructions or giving maybe a pat on the back when they need it. You know what I mean? And I think that helps. That's going to help in the long run with the kid, you know? It's going to help in the long run. I think that's great.
But it does require a lot of patience. Like that's the one thing that I've been complimented on, is that I have a lot of patience. Yeah. And I never thought myself to be a patient person. But apparently...
Your phone's talking shit. Tell you to drink water. You ain't got patience for that.
But... And also being able to correct a kid nicely, I guess you can say. Like, you correct them and you give them feedback that they're going to understand, rather than just reprimanding them. And I can imagine that varies depending on the child, right? Yeah. Yeah. So you have to understand the individual. That's why you have to cap it, bro. Yeah, it's hard, especially at that age. Like, it's hard. Especially if it's one instructor. Exactly. And for me, like, for example, I can't have the kids do the moves on their own. Sorry, I'm moving around. No, you're good. You're good. I can hear you good. Good. I can't have the kids moving around on their own and trust that they're going to drill the move. So I literally have them all sit against the wall, and two people in the middle. They do it 1 and 1, and then they go back, and then I have the next group 1 and 1, go back, do the next one 1 and 1. That's so how I do. It's definitely like quality training over quantity. Yeah. That's great. Definitely. And I don't do 4-hour classes. No, you can't. There's no way you can do 4-hour classes. No. Like 4 or 5. I switched it to 45 minutes earlier, like recently. If you can do that, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, it 30 was 30 minutes is scary for me, bro. Yeah, it was 30. It's tough. And as I got better, I added it to 45. Yeah, so that's been my method as of right now. It sounds really good. I'm gonna probably steal. You didn't say copyright or trademark, so I'm gonna take a couple of those. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's really smart that you cap it. You know what I mean? And especially like that, those rules, saying the rules beforehand. I don't do that. I just do like a traditional class. You know, I've never really thought about it that way. It's really good, a good idea, because it kind of like puts it in front of them. Yeah, you do what you can. Right. if someone doesn't like it, they can find somewhere else that's
Yeah.
gonna cater to them. Like, and that's another thing. Parents are very hard to deal with. Like, if a parent doesn't like it, they're gonna let you know that they don't like it.
Yeah. Which is fine.
And that's perfectly fine. There will be other places that can meet your needs.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't meet every need of every parent, then it's
not
actually
going to.
impossible. Like,
Yeah, there's
it's
no
impossible.
way. There's no way.
Yeah. So you run your class the way that you need to run your class. Don't let a parent tell you what you need to do. Like,
I feel better now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to know how, like, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to cover, but like, how did the podcast come into your life?
It was just an idea one day, and then that same day I downloaded Spotify for podcasters, and I recorded myself and I posted it.
You recorded yourself? The first one was just you?
The first few of them are literally just me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think the first 10.
That's pretty cool.
I was just talking to myself.
That's cool. That's a good way to get like maybe it's your notes on training or your thoughts on, it was just on jiu-jitsu?
Just jiu-jitsu.
That's a good way to like get your thoughts straight. You know what I mean? I think that's great.
Yeah, I think I had a lot in my brain that I just needed to let out.
That's great.
Yeah. It literally was not something that I wanted to do forever. I literally said that day, I said, I want to do a podcast. And that day, I downloaded the app. And that day, I recorded.
Oh, so you're saying it wasn't something that you had planned on doing? And now you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's great. And when did you decide to bring on guests? Like, was it?
When I ran out of ideas.
I need somebody else's ideas now.
Yes, literally when I ran out of things to just blab on about, and people liked that
that's great.
What I was saying. So I was like, okay, well, I'll add guests, and then with every guest I would announce it, and I would ask the people what they wanted to know from this person.
Yeah.
And I would ask the guests, hey, what's something that you would like to talk about? Like, what is something that you're well-rounded in, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that's good. I mean, I think that he's obviously gotten some traction. I think you were the first jiu-jitsu podcast that I knew about in South Florida.
I think so. I think Jiu-Jitsu Dummies was Jiu-Jitsu Dummies.
Fort Lauderdale though.
Yeah.
I'm like Miami-Dade.
Yeah, I think I'm the only.
Well, they also get people from there, but like you were the first one that I knew about. I knew Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, but I didn't know they were in Florida.
Yeah, I think I'm the first one, like Miami wise. Yeah. And then Jiu-Jitsu Sisterhood started.
That's in Miami? Oh, yeah, it is. That's right. They have their competition on tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's right. For some reason, I thought that there was like one in Miami and one in Florida and one on another state. Am I wrong?
What? For Jiu-Jitsu Sisterhood?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That I don't know.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
So you started having guests on it. What do you find that's like the most challenging part about talking to people on a podcast? Do you find anything challenging about it?
Only if the person is like they don't have much to say. That you have to pull it out of them. Yeah,
that happens. Sometimes you have to like massage the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't find a challenge in it. No. Actually, wait. I take that back. I'm not technologically inclined at all. So like this nice setup, I would never be able to figure it out. I did try it one time.
Yeah.
I tried it one time. I have the soundboard.
That's exactly what I call it. So don't worry about like the sound thing.
Yeah.
That stuff over there. Yeah, Keith over here that deals with it. I don't know. I didn't even know what's going on right now.
Me neither.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation for me. He's doing all the hard work.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have it. I tried it. It did not work. So I gave it up and I used my phone.
It's difficult, man. Like there's so much that goes. He tries to explain it to me. And I have major ADHD when I don't get what's going on. So he'll say, oh yeah, you got to do this. And I'm like,
That's literally me too.
Yeah, I can't. It's too many details and stuff. It's not as easy as it looks.
Mm-mm.
So I get that. I think the hardest thing for me is like who you're going to bring on, like booking. You don't have that problem? Maybe people like you more.
I don't. No, I don't have that problem.
People like you more.
I think it's. Did you start jiu-jitsu in Miami?
Yeah, I actually started in Valente Brothers, and my first jiu-jitsu class was in Valente Brothers, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was in Aventura. Like, but also like now is when I'm really starting to get to know the community of jiu-jitsu in Miami.
Yeah, and I think you know what helped me get to know the community was just competing and cross training. Like competing and cross training, I gained a lot of friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm like now is I've always cross trained like in different types of grappling, but now is when I started to cross train like in different schools, and now I'm meeting a lot of people like that.
Yeah, and if you go through my list of like guests, not all of them are from here. I have Michelle Rhodes. She is from California. I've actually never physically met her, but someone recommended her, and I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, someone said that you'd be great for the podcast," and she said, "Okay, sure."
So you built like a network. You have a network just from training.
Just from training.
Did you always cross train?
I always cross trained.
Like since the beginning?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I didn't cross train in like different jiu-jitsu schools.
Yeah. I was from the second I started jiu-jitsu, I was hooked.
Yeah.
So anything that had anything to do with jiu-jitsu, I was there. You know, you didn't have to say much. So yeah, that has helped. I've got my sponsor, you know, and my sponsor has helped spread the word too. Right. Choke Coffee, which he does stuff with like B Team now. Which
that's
is cool. Yeah, it's cool. But I was with him before that.
Yeah, you're the OG.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. Okay?
Let's not forget that.
Remember us.
Remember the little people.
Yeah, remember the little people. Right.
So I would say that has definitely helped me create like a list of guests that I can reach out to.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that now that the network is it's a lot friendlier.
Oh yeah, you can literally just slide in the DMs, bro. Just slide in the DMs. Everyone is always well, a lot of people. I wouldn't say everyone. Some people are very shy, you know. Yeah. But most people are willing to talk themselves up, like you know. So just
talk about jiu-jitsu in general. Like if you get somebody that's really into the sport, which is what happens once you get to a certain spot. Like once you get to like a certain level in jiu-jitsu, there's people that are hooked automatically. Like white belts that are hooked automatically with your case and my case and a bunch of other people's cases, but like there's some that aren't. But once you get to a certain level, like once you get to that purple belt level, I think that you're gonna be doing it for life.
Yeah, like you said, I think people that do jiu-jitsu, it's hard to get them to stop talking about jiu-jitsu,
right?
Versus getting them to talk about jiu-jitsu,
right? So it's kind of like it's easier for us. Yeah. Like it's not like talking about your job or accounting or something that you don't want to talk about, like a professional one. If you're talking about what you love to do, it's like jiu-jitsu, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
So are you gonna start when, because you just had the baby in January. You had it in January, so that's not that long ago. Are you already training the way you used to?
I'm going slowly.
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm moving the same, but I'm trying. Another challenge for me is that I teach every day. So
how's that helped your jiu-jitsu? Has it helped it since you started teaching?
Well, I would say that my jiu-jitsu has gotten better from teaching. Just because like it's easier for me to connect things.
Okay.
You know, because now I have to explain this is how you get from A to B.
And the why behind it.
Yeah. But now, because I teach every day, it's hard to go train.
For sure.
Because I don't have the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm trying to fit that back into my life. In the meantime, I'm training with my students only.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great, which is the idea.
Yeah.
That's the idea. You want to make them so good that they can be your training partners.
Right. That's the point.
Exactly. So, and all my training partners, I only have two female adults. So for the most part, regardless, even if I do have a brand new person off the street, there's still a challenge for me because they're big men.
Yeah.
So, and whether we want to believe it or not, a big man can possibly beat a brown belt girl. Yeah. You know, like
a big man can beat possibly a brown belt guy too. Like,
yeah.
There's, I mean, you get a big guy off the street. I mean, you know what I mean? Sometimes there's levels to these belts, like there's brown belts, but like I get you. It's going to be challenging for you.
Right.
A big dude is a big dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now, my main source of training is my students. I don't get to train every day because I also bring the baby to the gym.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
So me and my husband, we trade off.
Yeah. Same spot. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You train. If the baby cries, I'll get him. We'll switch it off with her.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's like having a newborn in the academy is tough because it's like that time that you usually can train and it starts crying and then you want to give your partner time to train as well. It's not easy. It takes away from your ability to drill.
Yeah, no, it's been very difficult for me to
and
train.
You have to have a good gym too to do it. Like, luckily it's your gym, but like if you don't have a good gym to do it, bro.
Yeah, sometimes you can't trust people. Like, maybe there's not enough space for them. Maybe someone gets pissed because there's a baby in the gym, which if that's the case, F you. But
yeah, go fuck yourself, man.
Like my kid's gonna be in the gym.
Right.
He owns the gym.
Yeah, you're good. You're like, you're not training, just fucking leave.
Yeah. But no, there's just days that I just don't get to train. I'm there at the gym, I'm watching and I'm learning and I'm teaching, but I don't get to train.
Yeah. But you're there.
But I'm there, which is the important part.
Right.
Yeah. So
it gets easier too. Like once because we had a baby before that. We had a Santino, the little one with little hair, the little one.
Yeah.
That guy, we had him before.
The hair.
And so we had that transitionary period where it was like the trade-off. But once they get a little bigger, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, I could imagine.
It gets easier. So I understand the frustration because I live it with my wife, but it's going to get easier.
Yeah. The thing that I'm very lucky with is that at least for like my kids classes, like if I'm teaching a kids class, the moms are obsessed with my baby.
That's great. That's great.
So the moms also help it if I need any help.
That's
and
great.
I love the moms, so I trust them.
Yeah,
and I'm there watching them.
Right. It's not like they're taking them down.
Exactly.
I get it. Well, I mean, we're finishing up. Is there anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to cover? We could keep going. Is there anything you want to promote? Talk about?
Yes. So my podcast is the Grapple Channel.
Right.
I'm available on Spotify. So if anybody wants to take a listen, they can also take a listen. If you like this podcast, you probably like that.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will.
My school is Guardian Grappling and Jiu-Jitsu. We're in Florida City. So literally exit 1.
Right.
Like all the way down there.
Right. Yeah.
So we're no-gi only, except for 2 classes in the morning.
No-gi.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. So yeah, we're a no-gi school. We train every day. I started at 4 years old all the way to 100, however long you want to be
100
doing
would be
it
good.
for.
If you get 100-year-old,
yeah.
please let me know. I want to see that G. That guy's a gangster.
So yeah, if you guys ever want to stop by to train, our adult classes are at 7 at every weekday. Right now we don't have classes on the weekends.
Okay.
I made my schedule so where I can actually have a life with the baby right now.
Right.
Later on, maybe we'll add them back.
Yeah.
Before we had some, but right now,
and you
priorities.
also have the women's only open mat. Right?
Yes, and I also have women's only open mats. I would say I'm probably the most consistent with those.
Okay.
Because I've seen programs do it and they die out.
Yeah.
And, so I've been doing it for 2 years consistently. I have not ever canceled one.
That's great.
Ever. Even if there's only 2 people, we're doing it. We're getting the smoke.
That's great.
So that's open to everyone and anyone.
Do you have one coming up anytime soon?
I haven't scheduled the one for April, but I do post them on my personal Instagram page and my gym Instagram page.
Okay.
So that's Guardian _BJJ on Instagram. But yeah, anything that I want to touch on, I just want to encourage like any women that are thinking of training while they're pregnant. Like if you are used to doing that, do it. Yeah. Like, and if it's something that you're interested in, like don't do it like just because, but like if you really are like committed to training and you think that you won't be able to do it while you're pregnant, just do it as long as your doctor says it's okay, you know? Because it definitely, for me, jiu-jitsu has helped me tremendously, like with my mental health. And I think it would have done more harm than good if I didn't do jiu-jitsu.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I would definitely encourage that. another thing is like in Miami, I want the women to like show their faces, like, because in Miami there was a reason why I was traveling so much for competition. It was because I couldn't get anything here.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I was going against the same people over and over again. So I think that I would love to see more women compete. I know they're training.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying, but they're not coming out to fight.
Yeah. Come fight me, bro. I'm kidding. Not me, but like go out and compete. Like, do it once, you know, and hopefully you like it and you do it again and again and again. Like, don't feel discouraged.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And Bianca says that all the time, that she likes to compete and she wants like to see more of that.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah, it's really, really hard. Even at the highest level, it's difficult. Like when I went to go do Midwest Finishers, you know, Midwest Finishers is a well-known competition in Chicago. It has a big following, and the week of the competition, 4 of the girls pulled out.
Fuck.
Like, what? We're doing this for money, girl. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, and then when I did Emerald City, 2 of the girls pulled out, so they ended up having to switch the whole bracket.
And then you tapped one of them.
Yeah. So what the? Ugh, pissing me off.
Yeah, I get it. It's definitely, and to find training partners too, it's hard.
It is, which is why I don't cancel my ladies open mat.
That's great.
I like, you would have you have to like. Something major is gonna have to happen for me not to.
Bianca's definitely gonna go to that. Like she's.
I just told her.
She's excited about it. She was telling me about it. She's like,
yeah.
I'm like, you gotta go to those.
Yep.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta keep that going for sure.
Yeah, I don't plan on canceling.
That's great.
Because I know the struggle.
Yeah, man.
The struggle's real.
That's good. You get good training partners at least once a month. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think that's all I.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. It was a good one.